what's going on, everybody? That's right. The Bob Santos here is back, and I got a great guest here with me. Of course, he is a great trainer, one of the best trainers out there in the game today. Has been doing this thing here over the past, few months, and has a number of things here coming up. Also down the road here. So we're gonna get right to it. Of course, it's our guy, Coach Bob Santos. What's going on, Coach?
Great to be with you as always, man. You know the job that you do, second to none. I'm blessed to be able to hear and talk boxing with you.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. Here we got something here. This is gonna be, kind of like a one-off here. We got a rapid fire type of show here with you because you got something scheduled here where you got to get to the airport. So we're gonna try to cut it within like 15 to 20 minutes. See if we can do that.
California bound.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So we got this thing here coming up for you. You have the Pero brothers that you're preparing here. One of them there with Lenier and Pero is going up against the Trailers Webster at the Caribe Royale Resort in Orlando, Florida on April 18th there. So he's definitely been preparing for that. It's been a good little minute since he's been in the ring, but he's been working hard there at the gym with you. So how has he been looking here so far?
Well, obviously he was off a year and a half, but he's back. He's been working hard. We've been getting some great sparring. We've been getting a little bit of sparring in with F.A., the big, strong African. He's a hell of a fighter. I've known him for a long time, so we've been getting good rounds in with him. And we're expecting him to get his feet back wet, obviously, at the Caribe Royale, April 18th on the zone. He just signed a huge contract with Eddie Hearn. So we're excited about that, obviously. And then his brother's going to go May 9th on the zone. And so, like I always said, we're excited about the Cuban Klitschko's.
I called the Cuban Klitschko's right there. Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, I talked about the card that's coming up April 18th there at the Caribe Royale Resort there. So you have like a number of fighters that will be featured there along with Lenier and Pero. So, you have that. That's pretty much like the headlining bout, I think it is. There for that one. And I know that you were talking about Dainier Pero that has been also in the gym out there as well in Las Vegas. Has been preparing, with some of the heavyweights that have fights coming up there as well.
Yeah, we're preparing with Torres's opponent. That's going to be coming up on Top Rank. So we were doing a little bit of work out there, and I think that's going to be a very interesting fight. We'll see how that plays out. He just had that close loss not too long ago to F.A., and so now he's going to be going against Richard Torres, and we've helped him prepare this last couple of weeks since he's been in Vegas, and so we got some great work. I think he'd attest that he got some great work, and so he's helping us get ready, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, you got Guido Villanello there that's going to be having that fight there with Richard
Gladiator, Roman Gladiator.
Yeah. So I mean that's definitely going to be a key bout there in the heavyweight division, but. Dainier is in there, taking notes and stuff like that, how to, do things in different situations and stuff like that. So, once he gets back in the mix there in the following month, then he'll be sharp and ready to go for that as well.
Yes, sir. No two ways about it.
Yep, for sure. Now, I want to get back to, what was happening this past weekend. You were there with Elijah Garcia, your first bout there with Elijah Garcia going up against Terrell Gausha. That was at the Mandalay Bay Event Center there in Las Vegas, and he was able to get a decision win there over Terrell Gausha there. And some people saw the things there where he had like a couple of adjustments here and there over the course of the bout. Of course, they had the thing there where he got knocked down in the first round, but was able to get around that and pick up the pace there within the second half of the fight in order to get the decision there. So, what were your thoughts about? Him getting that work there against Terrell Gausha.
Terrell Gausha is a veteran. I know him real well because obviously I have Erislandy Lara. We fought him. I had Carlos Adames at a time that just fought him. He came off a close decision loss to him for the world title. That was a very competitive fight. And Gausha's got a wealth of experience, and that played out in the first round when he set that nice little trap with that nice little sneaky right hand and was able to catch Garcia. Was going down for the first time in his career. But, I thought he bounced back well. He's a 21-year-old. I thought he gained a lot of experience in that fight. So, coming off his first career loss, going into, arguably the best guy that he's ever fought in his career, and then getting dropped in the first round, to add to that, I thought he stayed composed. I thought he pressed the pace. I thought he was on the front foot most of the entire night. He forced the fight, and I'm happy with his performance. I'm happy he got the win, obviously, as his coach. It was a close, competitive fight, as Manny Robles, I'm sure, would attest to, because, like I said, in the 10th round, a lot of people, everybody likes a certain style.
Mm-hmm.
Had some good, clean, effective punching up top in the head, but people have to realize if you land a clean headshot, it doesn't count any different when you're scoring a fight as a body shot. So if I land 2 clean body shots, you land a clean headshot, it's still 2 punches to 1. So what do you like versus what do you like more?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Manny, if you look in the 10th round, I believe it's Manny that he's imploring his guy, hey, you need to go out and do something big. You need to go make this happen. You need to go get the stoppage. And for me, I just wanted Elijah just to stay composed, continue to do what he's doing. It was only his second 10-rounder. And, we got the win, and we move on to bigger and better.
Gotcha there, man. A real quick shout out there for my guy, brother Matt from Brunch Boxing. Says salute and to the boxing source and the legendary Coach Bob Santos there from Brunch Boxing, and got my guy there, Lance Meyer in the building, and also Jesus M in there. And we did kind of like had a little critique there in reference to Elijah Garcia as far as like the defensive thing, but he's something there that he's going to be working on here. As you mentioned there, he's 21 years old, so it's still a few things that he is developing over the course of his pro career. And as they were talking about the story there with Elijah Garcia, like he's had like a lot of pressure on him. Like he pretty much like started the game around like 16 years old or something like that, and taking care of his family and things like that. So he has a lot on the line as far as like every time he fights.
Sure, no doubt about it. The thing with Elijah is people lose sight of outside of the 108-pound, 112-pound weight classes, who at 21 years old is fighting the level of competition that he's fighting. There's some tall orders to fight Terrell Gausha, who's a hell of a fighter. I have the utmost respect for him. He's only lost to the absolute best. He dropped Zoo in the first round. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he had a very competitive fight with Adames. So he's one hell of a fighter. He's an Olympian. He gets a plethora of experience. And for Elijah at 21 years old to, step up to the plate, sign the contract, and fight a guy like that. Sure, of course, we want to improve Elijah defensively to some degrees, but people also got to understand something, though, too. Optics plays a role in a lot of things. And so obviously you get dropped in the first round. Gausha's off to a fantastic start, which he was. By the second round, Elijah's bleeding from the nose, but it's a situation where he's got to get the nose fixed. The same thing that I did with Mario Barrios in his 13th pro fight, because a lot of people don't realize, he got hit with some clean shots. I'm not going to say he didn't get hit with clean shots. We all could see that. And to say anything else, would be a disservice to him, because I got to get him better in those areas. But I was in camp with him, and people got to remember, optics is one thing and reality is another thing. The kid would eat a jalapeno pepper and he would bleed. So a lot of people that know this in boxing, with certain kids, they could go out in the sun and they'll start to bleed. They can eat spicy food and they start to bleed. So I'm not going to say he didn't get hit with any punches. We all seen that. Mm-hmm. But when you see a guy's nose bleed, he's getting busted up. The guy could eat a jalapeno pepper and his nose is going to bleed. So that's something that he's going to have to get fixed. He's going to get fixed. He'll probably have the surgery done here in about a week. It's the same thing I had done with Mario Barrios early in his career, 13. And it's a genetic thing. It has nothing to do with being hit. Like I said, if they go out in the sun, they'll bleed. If they sneeze too hard, they bleed. It's a genetic thing.
Gotcha there. That's the thing, is like a lot of people don't know about sometimes when fighters could have certain conditions that could have them react differently to punches or
a lot of amateur fighters, obviously, because it's a genetic thing. So a lot of people don't realize the membranes are some people are born with longer membranes than others. So if you barely touch the nose or it goes in the sun, then rapidly it'll start to bleed. And then unfortunately, though, too, then you have to deal with that, though, too, in the corner, because now he can't breathe through the nose.
Yeah.
Then you start to swallow blood. It's something that should have been fixed I wanted to be fixed, but by the time we got into the camp, by the time I became his coach, they're pretty much like, hey, just go ahead, press through with this fight, and we'll go ahead and take care of it in the next fight. But unfortunately, it does affect the fighter because now you're swallowing blood. Breathe through the nostrils. But you know, this is what you signed up for. It's part of what it is. But like I said, moving forward, optically, it'll be a lot better. Then you could breathe. And then secondly, when you see blood on the face, it just gives a bad optics for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, you did say something there as far as like, you know, with the nosebleed, and then you have to deal with that, and then have to adjust as far as like, you know, your oxygen and how to control your wind there, because you have to,
you can't breathe.
Yeah, you can't breathe basically through your nose, so you have to use your mouth, and that kind of like makes you.
And then you find the best guy you've ever fought in your life. You know, he's a crafty veteran. You know, it in some regards, I feel bad for Gausha because he's about as good as it gets. Like I said, he was within a couple rounds with Adames. Could win either way. What do you like versus what do you like more? Unfortunately, he got the short end of the stick in that title fight. But that tells you how close. I mean, this guy's this close to being a world champion. You know, he's been in there, like I said, with Lara. He's been in there with Zoo. And I think in his last fights at 160, he's even looked better to me than he did in the Zoo fight. And I think probably part of that is because as he's gotten older, making the weight at 154 was a little bit more difficult. So then after the Zoo fight, he moved up in weight, looked pretty damn good against Adames, had a damn good fight, obviously, with us. I like him as a person, think he's a great guy, and I hope he ends up becoming a world champion at some point. But he'd be one of those guys that's like some of the best guys that didn't win a world champion. His name would be first to come to mind.
Gotcha. Yeah, shout out to those also, you know, jumping in on the live chat here real quick. To mention Lance there, D1 in the building, and Big Dre in the building here real fast with Coach Bob Santos. So we got like, you know, a few more minutes here, like I said, with the rapid fire, but I want to follow up there real quick as far as like what you said with Elijah Garcia, because he's there at 21 years old, and, you know, this was pretty much like his run since 2023. He fought Amakal Verdal, you know, there where he got the KO win against an undefeated opponent, and fought Kevin Salgado, then Jose Resendez, who, you know, had to win there over Jarrett Hurd, then the fight against Kyron Davis before you had this about here with Terrell Gausha. So that's definitely something, a lot there from like
I said, how many 21-year-olds in these weight classes, how many 21-year-olds in these weight classes are fighting competition like that? You know, it's really, you know what I'm saying? He's only been 10 rounds one time before that. So a lot of people, man, you know, he should have did this. He could do this. He could have did this better. Put it into perspective. He's 21 years old, you know? And again, I always tell people, you know, obviously there were some people on the broadcast and took some heat. Oh, you know, we felt this with Gausha. And I always tell people this. At the end of the day, when somebody's doing commentary or doing a broadcast, and I've done commentary, and they rely on CompuBox, go look at the 5th round. CompuBox had Gausha outlanding Garcia in the 5th round. We threw our most body punches in the 5th round, and they had Gausha outlanding Garcia in the 5th round by CompuBox. I don't even think he threw 4 body punches. Now, if you like the clean, effective punching up top, you like the boxer, then he's going to be your guy. But when you score a fight, you're supposed to score a fight based on punches. Doesn't matter if it's landed to the head or to the body. And then like I said, these guys, you're not scoring the fight round by round. You're saying, hey, we're going to break into this room right now. They're going to interview this person. You're looking back. You missed this round. When you factor all those types of things in, and I always tell people, the 2 guys that know the most are the 2 guys that are fighting each other of how the fight is really playing out. They're not looking at the optics of it. They're not looking at the blood. They know what's going on. They're not looking at like, wow, the knockdown, it creates a narrative. He got knocked down. Now he's bloody by the 2nd round. And no, you have to score the round by round. And when you, like I said, when you look at the 2 guys that know are the 2 fighters, the next guys that should know the most, obviously, are going to be the judges, the 3 judges. And then the next 2 guys who should know the most are going to be the corners.
Yeah.
And I tell people, if they thought, because some people say, oh, it was one of the biggest robberies in boxing. I go, really? Then why is Manny Robles in the 10th round imploring his guy to go out and he thinks he needs to get a stoppage? He didn't do that in the Adames fight. He didn't do that in the Zoo fight. He knew it was a close fight. And Gausha knows it was a close fight. And so, and then what style do you like versus what style do you like more? And fortunately for us, we got the win. I've had a lot of fights where I thought clearly we won the fight. It didn't go our way. And I went back and looked at the film with no sound and broke it down and said, it was not an easy fight to score. It's always easy to score. And Gausha is great with the right hand, the Olympian, good, clean, crisp punches up top. It's easy to score stuff like that. Seeing the stickers down below, seeing the body shots in and around, you got to really have a trained eye and really be paying attention. You can't say, hey, babe, can you pass me a piece of pizza? You got to really be looking at the fight as you're scoring the fight. And a lot of times people miss that, and then they look at the opposite. You got dropped, you're bleeding. Listening to CompuBox. And CompuBox, a lot of times, like I said, for all those out there that want to trust CompuBox 100%, and I'm not saying it doesn't play a role to a degree. Go look at the 5th round with Gausha and Garcia. We landed most of our punches in that 5th round with the body shots, and yet they said he threw hardly none. And CompuBox is saying he threw more body punches than we did. Yeah. What?
Yeah. You got that. And then, the thing is, I was mentioning this earlier in reference to like judging a fight, like the judges where they're positioned, right? They're positioned at different points of the ring. So there are some times where, they're not able to see some things. And then there's other points where they are able to see some things. One, and then two, they ain't necessarily having like a live CompuBox scene that they're looking at while the round is going on. They're focused on the two fighters.
And I'm glad they're not, because like I said, everybody go look at the CompuBox, count the punches yourself. And even for people that still feel, hey, I feel Gausha won the fight regardless, that's fine. But I want people to cerebrally go look at stuff so you don't take everything as biblical. This is the gospel truth. So when you go look at that 5th round, you'll realize, okay, even CompuBox, that just wasn't even close for what they said in that 5th round. Now, does that determine who's going to win or lose the fight? Of course not. But it should let people know, if you're really going to look at something, you really need to be looking at it. You really need to be looking how many punches are scored. And before you start saying it's the biggest robbery in boxing, because then that hurts the sport of boxing when that's not nowhere near the case. Now, if you want to make the argument that he won, I'm okay with that. It is what it is, because some things in some rounds are subjective. What do you like versus what do you like more? I get that. I've been on the short end of the stick. But when you just come in and say it's a highway robbery and it's like the guy got knocked down 14 times, and come on, I mean, that's a little extreme. And that's where, I always say emotions are for women and children.
Yeah. I mean, and you had something there in reference to like the comment of robbery. I think that kind of statement was made after the fight there through the commentary, and sometimes you can't necessarily do that because how it affects the sport right now.
And then what's funny is that a lot of these guys then later on, when I said that's fine, I said just go watch the fight without any sound, because you weren't the judge, but go watch the fight without any sound. And I can't tell you how many people apologized to me, and even people that still feel, hey, I thought Gausha edged it out. Okay, but then to say it was a highway robbery, or then go back and say, you know what, we did miss a lot of the punches that we seen there. It was much more of a competitive fight. Like I said, I'm sure Manny Robles will attest to that, and Gausha will attest to that. I know that. I talked to them in the locker room after the fight.
Cool. Yep. All right. So, we got a few more minutes here. So I wanted to get through another topic here. And this is from Matt from Burns Boxing. He pretty much like beat me to it. He says, can we get some insight on when we can expect Mario Barrios back in the ring and who he may face there as a WBC welterweight champion?
Well, let's see how this bout Stanionis fight ends up playing out. I think he'll be back sooner rather than later, probably sometime towards the end of the spring, beginning of the summer. As far as who he's going to fight exactly, I don't know. I leave that up to, Al Heyman, Louis DeCubas Jr., and, he takes his marching orders from them. And then he'll tell me, hey, Bob, we're going to fight this guy or that guy. And then we put the game plan in place and we start implementing that, and we go from there.
All right, so I'm looking at like May 31st, June 7th, and June 14th or something like that. Maybe we could get something, situated with that. But you got to wait it out to see what happens April 12th with, Jerome Boutsinnis and Iamana Stanionis there to have the unification there for the IBF and WBA welterweight titles. They say that it's going to be for the lineal titles as well there for April 12th. So that's definitely big there in the.
I wouldn't want to be scoring that fight.
Yeah, because that's going to be definitely action. There on that.
I favor Boots in the fight, but I wouldn't want to score that fight. It's going to be a very, very, very tough fight. If one guy makes a little bit too much of a mistake and somebody can capitalize that, it can change the whole course of that fight. And I'm very interested to see that fight, not just as a coach, but as a fan. I think it's going to be fan pleasing because one thing that I love about Boots, not only is he a great boxer, but he's competitive and he will fight you in spots because that's just his nature. And I think guys like him are great for the sport.
Yeah, no doubt. So definitely looking forward to that fight coming up in Atlantic City. There, you got like a lot of action that's coming up on April 12th, not just in Atlantic City, but multiple cities across the country. You got something over in this area there in Maryland. You got something in Ohio. I think something in New Mexico too there for April 12th. So it's going to be a lot of action on there. So a couple more things here that I wanted to touch on. Number one, we did have something here over this previous weekend where we lost two great guys there in the sport of boxing. Of course, we had George Foreman here that transitioned, and of course, we talked about it with Livingston Bramble. Of course, there being a former WBA champion, and when we talked some time back about you being there with Livingston on the tail end of his career, you told us about him, but now we it just had the news of him transitioning or passing there. So I know that was definitely a loss that you felt.
Well, first, I want to touch on George Foreman because to me, as a Christian, big believer in Jesus Christ, for me, that's first and foremost. And for him to do what he did, not just in the ring, but as a pastor, bringing up the gospel, the lives that he touched, he was instrumental in more ways than one in many different areas. And George Foreman, I can't tell you how many times I watched film of him, how many times, just inspirational to me as a Christian, what he did with Michael Moore. I can remember just thinking to myself, just like, going to my dad, like, man, look what he's doing at his age. I mean, you know what I mean? He made you believe like, wow, you could still do things at an older age at a competitive level. And so for me, that's a huge, huge loss to the sport. More importantly, it's a huge, huge loss to the Christian community. And as far as Livingston Bramble goes, yes, I was fortunate to be with him, one of the last 15-round fighters. Just an icon, a blessing, tremendous fighter. And he's a great example of you might not have to have the greatest record, but you can still accomplish something that transcends. A lot of these guys have to have a perfect record. It just goes to show you maybe the record wasn't perfect, but look what he accomplished. First guy to beat Boom Boom Mancini, 15-round fighter. I mean, just the heart of a lion. And I was very fortunate, like I said, to be in and around him, to be in his corner. And for anybody who wants to go see some of the pictures with me and him back in the day, you can go to @Bob Santos Boxing, whether it's on X or Instagram, and see a young Bob Santos back in the day with the goatee. And so I was fortunate to be around people like that and learn from people like that. And then I could take that and pass that on. So one thing about Livingston Bramble, his legacy isn't going to die because through people like me telling his story. And like they say, when nobody knows about you anymore, they don't talk about you anymore, or it's the last time, then I guess they say that's like the last death. But we'll be keeping his name around with the amateurs and people that I talk to.
Yep, no doubt there. Now, yeah, shout out to my guy Joe. I think he's on here. It says, God bless you, Brother Bob. May the Lord have his hand on you and your entire family this Lenten season. There, prayers up, for me, man. Hey, shout out to you there, Brother Joe. Here, there in the building, man. But like you said, there with Livingston Bramble, I know a couple of of his family members there. I think his son and things like that too. So they definitely looked up to him and what he was able to do there over the course of his professional career. So definitely had my time to give my respects to Livingston Bramble there this past weekend there after I heard the news and stuff like that. So, one thing here before we roll out, just give any other updates that could be on the horizon there for some of your fighters that we hadn't mentioned yet.
Well, obviously, we had Luis Torres Coriano. He had that big win versus Nicholas Walters. His last thing is, was Lomachenko was the only guy to beat Nicholas Walters and stop him. So we had that big win. So he'll be back in the ring sooner rather than later. And like I said, the Cuban Klitschko's, they're going to be going at it. Elijah Garcia will be back in the ring sooner rather than later. Mario Barrios hopefully will be going off in this summer. Brian Mendoza, we got going on here in about 2 weeks. So we got a plethora of guys in our gym. We're excited. Be looking for us at Bob Santos Boxing. And I can't thank you guys enough.
Yeah, no doubt,
baby.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you see how hard he's working. You see how hard he's working there. Definitely with the schedule that he has and everything like that. Let's see. Okay, we got one more here real quick, man. As he has, my guy Joe says, how he trained brother Terrell Herndon, who's going to be going up against Deontay Wilder there in Wichita, Kansas. That was just announced.
You know what? I know Deontay very, very well, obviously, from our days together at PBC. I had Dainier Pero help him get ready for a camp out there in Alabama. I like Deontay. He's a great guy. I wish him nothing but the best. And be careful with the bronze bomber, because I don't care who you are. He still hits you with one shot. It could be Good Night at Irene, one of the best right hands ever to do it. And so watch out for that right hand.
Yeah, gotcha. That's definitely the tip there for brother Terrell Herndon, man. That's coming up, like I said, in Wichita, Kansas. Big thanks here, Coach Bob Santos, for taking the time to chop it up here with the Boxing Source, as always. And like I said, safe travels out there to Los Angeles and everything like that. And we're definitely gonna be catching up with you soon. I don't know. I might let me see what they say, April 18th. I have to see what's going on with that, because
Let me know, Carib Royale, man. We'll take care of you out there. Mari Pedro out there, the Carib Royale. We'll get it done with boxing. You let me know. We'll take care of you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I'll see if I have I'll have the time to get out there for that one there on Friday, April 18th. All right.
At Bob Santos Boxing. Let's go. God bless everybody out there.
All right, no doubt. Y'all be sure to follow him on social media there. Of course, there, Bob Santos Boxing. Until next time, folks, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Peace.